In this video, we'll cover the last two tools on the Artisan Subdivision toolbar, Make Symmetrical and Display Edges of Quads and Polygons. Make Symmetrical makes a symmetrical copy of pre-selected objects. The behavior of this tool depends on what's selected. This example has raw geometry selected, faces and edges with no groups or components. After activating the tool, I need to define the plane of symmetry. Tapping an arrow key aligns the plane with the SketchUp plane. For example, tapping the right arrow locks the red plane. I'll click to locate the plane at the origin, and the mirrored copy is created. The new object also consists of raw geometry. I'll undo, select the mesh again, and activate the tool, and this time I'll hover over the object itself. The plane aligns to be normal to each point or face I hover on. To lock this direction, I'll hold the Shift key, move up a bit in the blue direction, and click to create the copy. I'll undo and select again, and this time I'll lock the red plane and click a point within the mesh. Because the two copies intersect, there are two possible symmetric results. The arrows indicate the choice to keep, and hovering on either side of the plane shows a preview of either result. I'll click to complete the copy I want. Since I started with raw geometry, I now have a clean manifold model with no interior faces, which can be better seen in X-ray view. If I were to try a similar operation using SketchUp 2023's native flip tool, the interface is a bit more complicated. I need to tap the Control key to make a copy, and I have a selection of symmetry planes to click or drag. I can hover over a face, though I can't use the Shift key to lock this alignment. When I drag a plane, I get a preview of just one flip option. And after the flipped copy is made, the geometry is not cleaned up to be manifold. The interior faces can be seen in X-ray view. If the geometry to be made symmetric is a component, then the resulting symmetric object is also a component. If I start with a group instead of a component, then not only is the resulting object a component, but the original group is changed to a component. This is because it is assumed that I want to maintain mirrored copies, so that changes made to one will be reflected in the other. And unlike with raw geometry, if I mirror a group or component that intersects the symmetry plane, I don't get a choice of which side to keep, and the full group or component is maintained on both sides. This tool also works on proxy subdivision geometry. I'll start with this group and subdivide and smooth over a few iterations. To select the entire object, I'll triple-click on any proxy face, then activate Make Symmetrical. I can hover over any proxy face to align to it, and I'll make this sloped face the symmetry plane. Because there is overlap, I have two choices of what to keep. With this option, the mirrored proxy geometry overlaps in two places, and choosing this option produces a manifold mesh that fills the entire mirrored proxy geometry. The new proxy geometry can be better seen in proxy-only view. When I now select the entire proxy object again, and choose a symmetry plane where there is no proxy overlap, two separate mirrored meshes are created. Selecting everything again, and setting a symmetry plane that falls within the meshes, the proxy objects now mirror cleanly with manifold meshes inside. By default, the Display Edges tool is enabled. This means that while subdividing and using the Artisan tools, quad edges are displayed, while diagonals of non-planar quads remain hidden. Clicking this tool toggles it off, softening and smoothing all edges. But if I need to continue working on the mesh, I need to see its edges. Using the Soften Edges slider won't work in this case, but Display Edges gets the edges back in one click. Now I can use Artisan Move on sets of soft selected vertices, and turn edges back off to see how the mesh looks. Note that Display Edges is applied only in the current context. With this mesh made into a group, then copied, I can open one group and soften only those edges. Or, with one group exploded and nothing selected, toggling Display Edges affects only the raw geometry, but not the geometry inside the group.